if you have watched my Inktober sketchbook at all video, towards the end I had started drawing some of my original characters from a book that I've been writing for about 10 years. And 4 of those characters, represent the elements. And I'd drawn 3 for Inktober, but I hadn't got around or managed to fit in drawing the 4th. Who is this lady? This is Fire. She doesn't have a name because I can't seem to think of one that fits her. And to be honest, I'm just not very good at naming. She's very heavily sort of tribal inspired. Don't know if you can see that by her rather minuscule outfit, but she's very much of a warrior ilk. Very dragon-esque as well with her tail. Dragon detail on her legs. She's got a fiery temperament, I know, incredibly original considering she's a fire element. But I've come to the conclusion that there isn't much about my book that is original, which is kind of why I've stopped writing it. But anyway, let's not go down that bitter road. So, next page. Now, because Inktober is finished, I went back to my beloved pencil, so you'll be seeing a lot more pencil in this video. And here we have a centaur lady. One of the few portrait drawings I did in the sketchbook. Might zoom in for you. Trademark sort of floaty big hair, some weird floaty ribbony bits. She was fun to draw, she's kind of a whimsical feel to her. Okay, let's shift it background and zoom out. Okay. I think I need to invest in a better light. So this is the start of, I think, a run of drawings inspired by superheroes. I'm a big fan of Marvel. Started that sort of when the film started coming out. I've been reading the graphic novels for a couple of years now as well. So not been a fan for long, but they've had a very big impact on me, and this is sort of an original character I've come up with and I've drawn a couple of times now. Her name is Faye, F-A-E, and she's a sort of fairy-inspired superhero who has control over the elements. And she's got sort of antenna-like bits sticking out of her head, and she's got a sort of cape, well not quite a cape, but sort of floaty bits credits for it, so she's remained unfinished with her body on show. Maybe one day I'll remember to finish her. But yeah, look up Angela, she's an awesome character. This is another superhero inspired drawing, but this is more of a sort of a different ilk of superhero. This one is more of a sort of, I'm not sure what you'd call it, but like a universal sort of entity type superhero. She's sort of made of energy and light. She's got sort of swirly trails of bits and pieces, and she's quite difficult to explain, but she's sort of standing or floating, because she's in space. I don't know if that's clear. She's in space, it's a planet, not really Earth, it could be any planet really, and she's sort of standing between the planet and the whatever it is that's making her pull this face. She can't be good because she looks quite worried, so yeah, she's trying to protect the planet. Moving on. Oh look, more superheroes. These, well, they're technically the same superhero, sort of winged ladies. I didn't really think of a backstory for these two, I just wanted to draw a girl with wings, and because I was very much in a superhero frame of mind, I decided to make her a superhero, so she's got the sort of token leotard, although she's got little shorts, because I imagine her being younger, I don't know why, maybe sort of in her late teens. This drawing is one I actually did while waiting at the airport, November 2015. I was going to New York, and I'm not very good at drawing in front of people or in public, so I didn't get a lot drawn. I did this in the hotel a couple of days later, but I was wearing my accent wear headphones. I don't know what they are. They're light up headphones, and they are awful. Don't bother wasting your money on them, they are terrible. But I was inspired to draw this sort of fox lady with stupidly long silly hair listening to music, and as I said, because I'm not very good at designing clothes or costumes, I tend to have sort of go-tos, and one of my go-tos is high-waisted trousers and a crop top. Plus usually I would have spent a long time on the anatomy, so the last thing I want to do is cover it up. This is one of the rare drawings I did that didn't end up on Instagram, and it was me sort of trying to draw a bit more detail, because a lot of the drawings I've done have been quite simple, so I thought I'd remind myself how to do intricate detail, so I started on this piece of a headdress. Oh, excuse me. See if I can. was a pencil sketch, and I was experimenting with a new ink and brush set that I'd bought, and I had completely forgotten how to draw with pen and ink, or even brush and ink, so that's why it's a little bit, not very good. But I ended up painting this with watercolour, and I think it came out a lot nicer. It's about time for a mermaid. So yeah, just a random mermaid sitting on a rock. Really not much to say about this one, really. My trademark for mermaids, probably not particularly original, but because so many people draw mermaids that everyone tries to make them different and original, and my thing is I draw a little sort of fin on the back, think along the lines of like a lionfish, all those spiny fins that they have. They, you know, they're different per mermaid, but that's the sort of look I'm going for. Some of them are bigger than others. This one's is quite small, and then she's got this sort of fan-like tail here because it's curling around the rock, and of course big foofy hair. Slightly different vein. This was me having a go at drawing a slightly more badass character, and for some reason decided to give her a very skimpy outfit. But I think you look at some of the classic badasses, they just seem to have this innate confidence that allows them to wear next to nothing and, you know, roll with it and look awesome. So she's covered in tattoos, which you probably can't see. She's got a sort of jacket sort of hanging off one shoulder, very, very tight pair of trousers, her gun holster, because obviously guns are cool, blah blah blah, icky ick. But to sort of offset her badassness, I gave her sort of this shockingly big poofy hair, and she's wearing one of those sort of hipster hats, and she's got these little things sticking finish off, of course, we have a bit of Seshul Madu. Seshul Madu is Inuyasha's half-brother, so he's also a demon, but he's a full-fledged demon. And he's one of the stoic, silent types, but he did actually grow on me as a character as the series went on, mainly because of actually my favourite character in the series, Kagura. I'm sure her name was Kagura. And I have drawn her, but she's in another sketchbook. But he's got quite a funky outfit, quite fun to draw, and I was going for a different style of hair, just a more blunt style, and I quite like it actually. Onto my beloved Rat Queens. Rat Queens is a graphic novel series that I've been reading for a long time, and it's fabulous. If you watched my haul video, I think it's the first haul video, I actually have I think it's the third volume in the series that I feature in that, so if you want to see a bit in more detail what Rat Queens is, what it's about, you can check out that video, or of course look it up when you're not, hopefully, quite so sleepy, if I'm doing my job right. But this is one of the main characters from that series. There are 4, part of a mercenary group. This is Hannah, and she's like this rockabilly elf mage who goes kind of crazy when she gets angry. She's pretty fabulous. There's Violet, who is, I think she's like dwarf royalty or something. Didn't quite go so well this one, but that's because she's not really she's like my least favourite character of the 4. And then we have the second unfinished sketch. This is D, and I think she's unfinished because I started drawing this, then decided to turn her into D, but it doesn't really, the posing and everything doesn't really fit into her character, so I never quite got round to finishing her, and I didn't bother looking up reference again. Same thing as poor Angela. But she's my favourite character. I think she's a daughter of a pair of sort of squid god worshippers, so kind of another sort of mage style, but she's a human, and she's wonderful. There's a scene in, I think it's the first volume, where they're having a party and everyone else is being drunk and debauched, yet Dee's sitting in a corner reading a book. When someone tries to go over and talk to her, she sort of panics and ignores them and sounds a bit crazy and manages to drive them off, which is exactly the sort of thing I would do. So I feel like she's a bit of a kindred spirit. And then last but not least, we have Betty. Betty's fun. She is a smidgen, which I take to be sort of like a hobbit type creature, so she's quite small. And yeah, she's, as you can see, she's holding a beer. She's a bit of a party animal. Probably the most degenerate of the bunch, actually. On and off again relationship with her girlfriend. And yeah, I love Betty. She's just so much fun. You look at her and think, oh, look at that little cutie, and she'd probably crying shame. Really frustrating, but there you go. And this is the last page, and we have Blue, again my shop mascot and original character. Practice with facial expressions. I actually quite like the shading on her sort of top, and this is again using my go-to outfit, high-waisted jeans and crop top, but that's actually her outfit, it's what she wears on my business cards and stuff. But there we go, that's it, the last one. So I started this sketchbook all the way back in 2014. This is the first one I drew. It's actually from a reference, which is why it's a little neater than some of the others. I drew this one on the 6th of February. And the last drawing, oh, too far, was on the 31st of January. So yeah, it took nearly 2 years to finish the sketchbook. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed seeing those sketches. I would love to share more of my art with you if you're interested in seeing it. Unfortunately, I've got about 4 or 5 sketchbooks and watercolour pads on the go. None of them are finished. I'll show you my current sketchbook. Bear with me a second while I grab it. So this is my current sketchbook. As you can see, it's a similar to the original, but it's Gryffindor instead of Hogwarts. But unfortunately, at the moment, I think I started this. I think this was started in January 2016, and I am only that far in, so I've still got all of this to go, and considering the last sketchbook took me 2 years to complete, I would love to try and finish this year, but I honestly don't know if I can draw that many, which I know is crazy because there's probably only about sort of 50 pages there, and if I just drew one sketch every day I'd get it done in a couple of months, but yeah, I just can't do that. I can't force myself to draw, otherwise it just comes out looking rubbish. But yeah, I'd love to go through this one again with you, maybe before I finish it, because it's not like I can do the whole book in one video, because that would take far too long. It'd be like a 3-hour video, and that's even too long for an ASMR video, I think. So yeah, if you're interested, then I can sort of do a video on what I've maybe done so far in here. Give you a sneak peek there. But anyway, for this sketchbook, that's it. We are done.